In this segment, I'm going to show you about searching for sources and also attaching sources and adding people. So in this case, there is a record hint, so I'm going to click on that. I can kind of look through it and see that it looks like the record probably belongs with this individual because the individual is consistent with the family members that are shown in this particular census record. So I'm going to go ahead and review it and attach it. At this point on the left I see what's in the census record, and on the right I see what's in Family Search, and I can click on to move information over from the census record into the family tree record. And in most cases I'm just going to show that it shows approximate birth information. So I've now attached him. I can now attach his parents, and I can do this pretty easily on the census records from 1880 to 1940, which contain relationship information. You can really easily add the census record as a source to just about all the family members pretty quickly. So at this point I'm going to go back to the individual, and there are no more hints, so I'm now going to go down to search records, and that brings up 888 search results. So I'm going to look through the first couple of those, and it looks like on 1900 census I'm going to find something. So in this case it looks like Robert is living with his mother and his new wife. So at this point I'm going to do similar to what I did before. It looks like I already had Robert and his wife attached, so I'm now going to attach his mother, or rather attach the census records to his mother. And I'm once again going to go back to the search results, and it looks like I found Robert in the 1920 census. Now I happen to know that his brother is named Norman, and so this looks consistent with him living with his brother now in 1920. And although it just scrolled through there pretty quick, it also looks like Lucille Burkhardt is his daughter, so it looks like he's living with his daughter and his brother. Now one other interesting thing to note, it looks like this is showing him as widowed. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and this looks like this is a marriage record we've now found. And it looks like he and his wife, their marriage record is already attached, so I don't need to do anything there. So it looks like his wife, it looks like he's a widow in 1920, which is kind of interesting. Now I'm going to go look at his, this looks like this one is his draft registration card. So I'm going to take a look at that. Oftentimes that will give a birth date. In this case it just gives an approximate birth year. I'm going to take a look at the document, see if there's any other information. And when I look at the document, what I see is there's his name. I see that he's a patient in a hospital. I see that it looks like his nearest relative is Norman, who is his brother. And I also see that he's insane, and I guess for that reason he's not going to be joining the service. So I'm going to attach that record, and I'm going to put on there that at least one of the reasons I'm attaching it is because it looks like he's in a hospital and he is insane. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and see if I can find anything else concerning his wife. So I'm going to go back to him, and then I'm going to scroll down and make his wife the person of interest. And I look at what I currently have available as sources for her, and I'm going to go ahead and do a record search. Now at this point, I may or may not find what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go in and change it to be her married name, because that's probably what I'll find her as past her married date. Now here I find a 1920 census with Inez Burkhardt, and the mother is Clara, says Goss, which is pretty close to what her mother's name is. So, and it interestingly shows that she thinks she's widowed. So both the husband and the wife are both showing that they're widowed, which is interesting, but it could actually be because that he was insane, and for that reason she just wanted to tell people that she's widowed rather than tell them what really happened. Or there could be more to that, since it looks like the daughter is living with her husband. So I've now at this point attached all this. Okay, there's one thing more I wanted to show concerning searching and adding records. So I'm back to Robert Oral Burkhardt. And as I said before, there's 888 results. Well, that's kind of a lot of results to have to go through. But if you click on collections, that breaks it down into the various collections that are shown here. So in this case, there's 25 different collections. And so depending on what time frame I was looking for or what type of information I was going to look for, I can greatly reduce the number of things that I want to look through. So in this case, I know that he lived in Indiana, so I'm going to look at Indiana marriages. And of course I see his marriage, and I see a few other ones that really have the wrong spouse and stuff. But then I see this one that is father of a bride. The spouse is Inez. It has gloss, which is really close to Goss. And the child is Lucille Burkhardt, which happens to be the name of his daughter. So I'm going to look at that one. and I can look at that information. In this case, it has the name of the two people getting married, and it has the names of the father and mother of the bride and father and mother of the groom. So I'm going to go and attach this to the family tree, which means I'm going to attach the sources to these particular individuals. So I'm going to first attach the source to him, and I'm showing him as a parent. And then I'm going to attach it to her, showing her as a parent. I'm going to attach the marriage information to Lucille. Okay, and that's all I can attach at this point. Now I can then make Lucille the person of interest. And after doing that, I can then do some more attachments. So I click on her, make her the person of interest. Now the marriage record is already attached to her, so I can go down and open the marriage record. I can then review attachments, which allows me to see if I can attach any additional people. So in this case, I can add her husband as a person, and it has his birth information, which is convenient. I'm assuming since it's over 110 years, he's probably deceased. So I'm marking him as deceased. And at this point, I can go ahead and attach this record to him. So I've now added an additional person to the family tree that I did not previously have. Now to add his parents, I have to do the same thing that I just did. So I now make her husband the person of interest. The marriage record is already attached to him. So I now go down and open that. I review attachments. And then I can add them as new people. I don't really have any information other than their name at this point. So I'm just going to add them. And show as parent. And I'm going to do the same exercise for her. Now at that point I don't really have enough information to do any temple work on them, but it's fairly likely that since I do know Henry's birth information, that I could maybe find him in maybe like a 1910 census, and he would be with his parents, and then I could get additional information on all of them. And that's searching.